Hi, I'm Edwin Samuelson, and welcome to the CineFiles, a show that allows you to eavesdrop on the conversations of fellow film fanatics. Today, one of our esteemed co-hosts could not be here, Mr. Jeff Galashaw, because he's working hard for the man every night and day, to quote Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Were you going to call him a colleague or a comrade?
A comrade in arms.
Duh.
That's about the mustache, man. All right, well, who is here today? Mr. Eric Cohen to my left, and to his left, Michael Foltz.
What does having a mustache have to do with?
I don't know.
I think Ed wants us to refer to him as young Stalin tonight.
Yes, I want you to do as I tell you. Okay. But anyway, before I begin, let me just say this. We, as many of you know, we've started a blog which is on cinefilestv.blogspot.com. We've had this for about a month now, and we've gotten some really good responses. Eric has written a couple of reviews. Jeff has, and Mike has also written some of his sarcastic, witty reviews. And I have also done a video entry for the Death Wish series, and I plan on doing some more video entries. And I hope you'll check that out. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, please leave a comment and rate the show and subscribe if you haven't. Just point and click if you are watching this on Facebook. You heard me, fellow fans. You agree with me on that, don't you? They can take the time to rate the damn show. Give us a 5.
You mean YouTube or Facebook?
On YouTube.
Right. I agree.
And subscribe, damn it. We want
Here.
some subscribers, and we want some comments, and we want some video responses. And we want to thank our friends for the people who have responded. Those have been some great responses.
I want to say a big thank you to all our fans who actively post on both Facebook and especially on YouTube for their comments. Even the jackasses that leave their miserable, thoughtless, negative comments that we will never ever listen to and we probably think nothing of. We appreciate those too.
Hey, I appreciate it because you know what? That means they watched the episode and that they had enough anger or feeling to respond.
Yeah, I mean,
Fully.
That provoked the response.
Especially on the John Hughes show, like half those comments, I think most of those people have shit for brains, but you know, I'm glad they posted.
So am I. Hey, and John Hughes, rest in peace, pal. All right, well, let's get into the first topic of today, which is we're talking about a classic. We got some requests for this, and I think it's a very good topic. It's Planet of the Apes. We're going to talk about the entire Planet of the Apes series, from the Charlton Heston version through the Tim Burton remake or relaunch, if whatever you want to call it, or reimagining.
The entire canon of apes.
As many people will know, there was a book written called Monkey Planet by a very famous writer named Pierre Boulle, I believe is his name. He also was a very famous French writer who wrote one of the greatest films of my lifetime. Well, not my lifetime, but I think one of the best I've ever seen in my lifetime, which is Vertigo. And he's a very respected writer, and he wrote a film about basically a human that crashes on a futuristic planet of apes. Unfortunately, the budget wouldn't allow it, so they had to make it a primitive tribe of apes. But the film was Planet of the Apes. It starred Charlton Heston in perhaps his first of his many science fiction roles. He would later go on to do Soylent Green and
well, it wasn't just
Omega
Boulle,
Man.
But Rod Serling also
Rod Serling
had a
worked on
part
the
in it.
script.
Well,
Yeah,
Rod
Rod
Serling
Serling
wrote the screenplay. The novel was written by Boulle. Boulle also wrote Diabolique,
which is, of course,
which is a classic.
Yes, one of the films
The
that
movie is based on
influenced
his novel as well.
that influenced Alfred Hitchcock quite a bit when he made Psycho, I believe.
Yes.
But yeah, Planet of the Apes is one of the most.
Well, but it was, and you just touched on this briefly.
Yes.
It was a very interesting vision of the futuristic ape society that Boulle had envisioned. You're right. Of course, there was no budget that was going to have basically apes and jetpacks and floating cars and stuff. And then
Well, just to clarify with our audience, the vision that's in the film was not Boulle's vision.
Exactly.
No, it was not. It was toned down by 20th Century
Although
Fox.
it was going to be, because there's test footage that Edward G. Robinson was going to be
Dr. Zaius.
Dr. Zaius, and he's wearing contemporary clothing. And I mean, they're originally going to clothe him.
They also had storyboards all ready to go.
And many of those storyboards and test footage is available on a great Making of the Planet of the Apes documentary. The film is legendary. It has been parodied many times. It was directed by an excellent director, Franklin J. Schaffner, who also directed Papillon and many other films. This film is very intelligent. A lot of it comes from the pen of Rod Serling, I believe, whose cynical nature really does add quite a bit to the film.
I think, I never read the original Boulle text, but I will say, and you touch on a great point, the cynical nature or vision that Rod Serling brings to the original story is really, really brought to what I think is my favorite part of the film, which is the first third. I love the whole desolation of what these 3 astronauts should have been 4, but of course there was a hairline crack.
A mishap.
A mishap.
In the cryogenic chamber that the female astronaut was in, but still, when these 3 astronauts are roaming around, I just love that. I mean, it's like pure survival. You don't know where they're at. You just know that it's a planet that's, has air, not much vegetation at first.
And I love.
What I also like about it too is, and I didn't realize this, because I saw it many times as a kid, but I only rewatched it recently because Fox TV, the Fox movie channel, has been reshowing these like all of them back to back, and I managed to revisit them recently, and I didn't realize how much of a douchebag Charlton Heston is.
He's a real jerk.
He's like when he's like first introduced, he's such a jerk. He's just like this total douchebag asshole commander of their team, and.
He's very cynical. He's almost like anti-human race. Like he wants the human race.
And I get how this film is sort of like his. But
I like that though. I like him just.
He has
being
an
such
arc
a jerk.
where he starts to rediscover his own humanity.
Well, I think that's what's so great about the film is him trying to convey. There's a whole point where he actually, as you find out, the planet is overrun with apes who can speak and who actually are. The primary what are the intelligent life on the planet.
They don't find that out at first. They find human beings,
but they're slaves, and they're
almost like cattle.
Basically, they're basically chimpanzees. They're like monkeys. They're just there and a nuisance to the apes. And the thing is, is that I love that the whole point is that Charlton Heston loses his voice, and the whole time he knows and he wants to express himself and say, hey, I'm not one of these things. And the build up to that very famous line of, get your damn stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape, is legendary. And it's such a powerful moment because for that whole hour, you just go, come on, speak. I love the film. Because let me tell you what, I was very lucky. Even though I've seen the ending, which I'm not going to ruin for anybody who hasn't seen it, the ending I've seen parodied.
You just fell out of a cave yesterday. I don't know.
I know. It's funny. When I was a kid, I saw a movie called Spaceballs, which, of course, makes fun of the ending of the movie.
Right. It's been made fun of many times.
It's very funny, actually. But when I saw the movie, thankfully, years later, I had no idea of the ending. And when the ending came, it completely shocked and just blew me off. This is a 2-hour Twilight Zone with a good budget.
Well, that's what it is. I mean, that's Ross Sterling's touch. It's basically a feature-length Twilight Zone episode.
It reminds me of the Burgess Meredith episode with him losing the glasses.
It's very well done. It's also a very exciting film. I think some of the action scenes, the chase scenes, they're very well paced. There's a lot of suspense. I think the social satire is very well done, even though it gets a little kind of too on the nose in the court scene when they're all doing the see no evil, hear no evil thing in court.
Human see, human do.
But
that's a very famous line.
But it's an interesting film, and it's kind of like I like how like the fates of some of the characters are left kind of ambiguous at the end. Even though Charlton Heston leaves them behind, that Dr. Sayas is not going to keep his promise and let the other chimpanzees go. You
mean the humans?
No, the chimpanzees.
Remember,
he said, "I promise I'll let they won't be held accountable for being traitors, whatever."
Right.
Cornelius, or is it
Cornelius and Zira.
And Zira, and then at the end, he said, after like Charlton Heston goes off in the sunset on his horse with his woman, he says to him, arrest them immediately. And said, I thought you had, what about your word? And he's like, I was never planning on keeping my word. You guys had to be held accountable.
And I love the whole thing is that at the end, of course, you find out that Dr. Zayas is fully aware of everything Taylor was talking about, but they were trying to hide, which actually is another thing of social commentary on, maybe communism and things back then. I think it's perhaps the reigning science fiction film of its time. It's absolutely brilliant, and we have to give credit to. This movie would not be half as good as it is if it wasn't for the work of John Chambers. His makeup in this movie is absolutely excellent and convincing. It is his makeup test that actually made the executives of Fox greenlight the picture because they did not believe they could actually make an actor look like an ape and make him believable. But when they did the makeup test, which actually James Brolin and Edward G. Robinson, who were actually Edward G. Robinson, they said the makeup was too tiresome, so they recast it with Morris Evans.
Or James Brolin.
And James
could have
Brolin.
been in Planet of the Apes.
Yes,
could have been James Bond.
But hey, but easy come, easy
But he was in the TV series Hotel.
Yes.
It's almost as good.
And Amityville Horror is Paul Bunyan.
All right.
But it's definitely one of the best, and one of Jerry Goldsmith's best scores. A terrific score by Jerry Goldsmith. But this is definitely one of the best science fiction films, one of the most influential, and made a creative universe of 4 more films of various qualities. In fact, the next film in the series is Beneath Planet of the Apes, which actually as flawed as it is, this might be my favorite entry in terms of ideas going around. I love this film.
It is my favorite out of the whole series.
I think that
as much as I love Planet of the Apes.
Just the ideas
are
brilliant.
This one it's like a mix between. Yeah, you're right. It is flawed.
But the ideas are brilliant.
Very some silly things in there. But you're right. The ideas in there are so fucking amazing that I was applauding at scenes. I could watch that movie over and over and over again. Because it picks up almost exactly where the other one left off.
Literally, it picks off where it goes off. Where Taylor on his horse at the end of the movie, and he stumbles into the Forbidden Zone, as you find out, and he somehow disappears, and Nova, his companion, runs away and is able to whatever. But anyway, a rescue mission followed Charlton Heston's character, and I guess follows the same trajectory.
And who would you want better to come rescue you than James Franciscus?
He really is he's like a poor man's Chuck Heston. No, I think he's actually a really good choice. He's a poor man. He's really good in the role.
James Franciscus was perfect casting. He's not a great actor, but he had
the look.
The idea was he was supposed to be. This is another interesting take on the hero part, and that. This is a guy who really doesn't know what the fuck is going on, and I like how he's not even don't even attempt like another leading character to get it on with the female character. This is completely about trying to figure out what's going on here, how he got here, and then he discovers Charlton Heston, and I like a lot of the ideas in the film too. Yes, it's flawed.
Very flawed.
I think Planet of the Apes of all the films is the best made film in the entire series.
But this is my favorite.
But there's a lot of shall I say, pulp value to this film.
No, not shall you say it is definitely pulpy all over the place.
Just a lot of fun. The mutated humans. They come across. And
well, the thing is what I think is interesting is that Charlton Heston was asked to come back for a sequel, and he said, "I don't want to be in it. I did it already, and that's that." And then they kept pestering him. He said, "Okay, I'll do it, but I want you to. I'll be in one scene in the beginning to hand it off to someone else." He goes, "Will you be at the beginning and at the end?" And he said, "Okay, I'll do it." And he said, and I want this never to continue. I want to basically make this movie where it's the final entry. And the way that he did it, ingeniously created 3 more sequels, which I'm not going to give away to you right now. But I like this one because I love the underground city, which actually uses sets from Hello, Dolly. And I don't know if you know that.
I knew that.
I thought that was brilliant. Actually, there's an A/B comparison online. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. It's like, whoa, Barbra Streisand, and this is the underground mutated city? Well, she probably looks like a mutant anyway. But I love how there is humans who have evolved, to the next level with telepathic abilities.
But
and
you know what I like? I like the contrast between the two, because both the apes and the mutated humans underneath the mental mutants or whatever they're called, both really lack a great deal of compassion and humanity. They're both very cold, fascistic societies.
Well, the one thing is this: they don't believe in violence. Them creating violence, the humans. They with their powers let humans create, or not humans, but the other people attack themselves.
They use their telekinesis and
And I just recall seeing that scene where they make Heston and Franciscus,
fight in the cage.
I kept thinking Star Trek.
That's what I was like. Dun 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 dun. Sorry, the arena comes into play in that one. What's so funny? I saw that print at Walter Reed Cinema.
Wow.
And hey, pretty good, huh? I've been on a Star Trek. Hey, watch! We did a Star Trek episode. Watch it on YouTube.
You didn't do that on Star Trek.
I should have. Dun 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 dun. No, but anyway, I saw it at the Walter Reed Cinema, and I could not believe how bad the print was. There were 6 scratches throughout. It was in pinko vision, and the entire scene where they're fighting is cut out of the print.
What's with all these communist references? Pinko.
Hey. I watched too much. I've been watching too much on the
Comrade. Or not, but there was actually a part edited out where Franciscus and Nova are completely naked, because I saw a still of that from the shoot.
Really?
When they were brought in as slaves, they're completely nude. And I thought, well, you can't really pull that off in a PG.
Gotta love Mike. Thanks for the nudity reference. Well, anyway, I think
nudity
this film is.
The silliest moment out of it, though, is really the bomb. Is a giant bullet.
I kind of like that they worship it as a god.
It's like a retro, idea of a bomb. It's that thing that could either be in some science fiction movies, either be an A bomb or could be a spaceship.
Well,
it's that like interchangeable like design.
To me, it looked like a boiler.
To me, it looked like a big bullet.
And
I found it also hard to believe that one big bullet would destroy the entire planet.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely my favorite entry in the series. It's not the best. I think the Planet of the Apes, the first one's the best, but this is definitely my favorite.
I like the actor who also played the military junta leader, the gorilla.
The only good human is a dead human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that actor's name?
I can't remember. He's excellent in it.
He always talks like this all the time.
The problem with the movie, though, there is one problem: is the budget was cut like by a third. So a lot of scenes you see, like there's a scene where actually that scene where he goes, "The only good human is a dead human," is where a lot of extras are wearing pull-down masks, and it's so obvious because they're trying to save money.
I mean, it's really cool though that the mutants can set up that whole glamour or illusion that apes are being crucified upside down, and
I thought it was
like bleeding
pretty
from their faces
brilliant for a kiddie film. You know,
I thought, wow.
By the way, this script, I want to give credit, was written by Paul Dean, who also, I believe, was he wrote part of Goldfinger, and he also wrote the next few entries in the series. He did a really good job on the script. And actually, I'm going to give a spoiler here, so if you haven't seen it, spoiler. At the end of the movie, Charlton Heston destroys the world, and that sets up the entry for the next film, which some people consider the best of the Planet of the Apes films, but I don't really think so. I think it's my least favorite, which is Escape from Planet of the Apes. Somehow Zira and Cornelius have found the spaceship that James Franciscus had in the other film and flew back in time to present-day Los Angeles. And I believe, and of course, it's kind of like Planet of the Apes in reverse, where the apes are now the ones that are like, oh my God, they can talk, you know, like that.
I wouldn't say it's the worst in this series.
Battle, I think, is definitely the worst.
I used to agree with you, but I will tell you why when we get to that.
I don't actually. I think that the next couple of films in the series are kind of equal in quality. I think the fish out of water reversal thing is an interesting twist on a theme. I think it's fairly well done for what it is.
My problem with this is that when you take the apes out of that interesting futuristic world and put them in modern day Los Angeles, it loses its luster completely. That's what bored me with it. I didn't like the modern day.
Ricardo Montalban.
He was very good, but he just didn't do it for me.
I guess I liked it better than you did. I think there's some interesting drama.
I did love seeing Sal Mineo in the film.
And I thought it was interesting. It was an opportunity, basically, for
even though you can't
Roddy McDowell and Kim Hunter to really be front and center. Finally,
well, this sets it up.
They did a good job.
And they're really
good.
They
did a good job. In the film.
It is. I think it's genuinely touching.
There's some good moments in there, but like I said, I just think taking
with
them
the
out of
ape child.
Yeah. Well, actually, Zero gets pregnant with the ape child, and an ape child who probably is going to be the evolution of the new ape race. And of course, the government freaks out and wants to kill it because they know what happened. Somehow they let out that the world is going to be taken over by apes, and so the government wants to kill it. And
Eric Braeden.
Yeah, oh God, from the soap opera actor,
the German actor. Well, he was actually in another great science fiction movie called The Forbin Project.
That's a great one, Colossus. I love it. Yeah. Joseph Sargent, which actually is another film about the future, you know, and artificial intelligence. It's actually very much similar to the Terminator, actually, in terms of Skynet. You know, the computer becoming aware.
Yeah, it is actually. That's a good comparison.
But the reason I don't like this one, I mean, there's some good moments in there. But I will say I did like the performance of Ricardo Montalban, and I was sorry to see this was the last we saw of Kim Hunter in the series, as well, for obvious reasons. Anyway, at the end of the film,
it is a logical sequel. If you had to force a sequel from Beneath Planet of the Apes, it is a logical one because there's no way they're going to go to another planet. Or
I agree. It's just I wish it could have been done.
Or have apes on an
asteroid. Bradford Dillman.
I always love Bradford Dillman.
For once, one of rare opportunities he gets to play the good guy.
Oh, that's very rare. You know, he's always in a Dirty Harry film. It's like, you know what? What is that opinion? Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one.
He's always like a douchebag.
Yeah, but
he always plays like the corrupt businessman.
Well, anyway, we'll get to the next one.
You're getting a little douchebag crazy, aren't you?
I know.
No, but
sorry.
Dillman's a
at the end,
douchebag.
Zero gives birth to the baby,
and
somehow gives the baby to Ricardo Montalban at the circus, and the baby lives and says "Mom" at the end. Of course, sets up the sequel, which is directed by J. Lee Thompson, who was a very good director in the '60s, who directed Guns of Navarone and many other films. He was a Canadian director, and actually does a very good job with this one, actually. They filmed it on the newly developed Century City, which is an office building, office lot in LA that was new at the time, very futuristic looking, and they got a lot of futuristic look from this new location. When they originally filmed it, it was so bloody and violent that it had to be recut because people at the audiences were walking out on the film. Actually, it was just released on Blu-ray, and actually was on the Fox Movie Channel, the uncut version, for the first time, because it was rumored to exist. But actually, I saw the uncut version, and let me tell you something. It is very, very violent. It actually...
very what?
Very violent. It's very violent. It's actually, J. Lee Thompson said that he was influenced by the Rottweilers, where you see the apes rebel, and there's, I mean, you see the apes' heads being bashed in and blood everywhere.
You just said Rottweilers.
Watts Riots.
Ricardo Montalban.
That just threw me off a little bit.
What was the other one? Violence.
No, that's not him.
Okay, you know, yeah, but let's go back to the original one that we've actually saw for the first time, and probably which a lot of people have seen. It feels rushed. It feels sloppy. It feels like there wasn't that much. It feels like there wasn't much thought put into the plot. I mean, really, one of the only real highlights of this film is to see John Huston give that like little monologue.
That's the next film. That's in Battle.
What am I thinking of?
You're thinking of Battle Planet of the Apes for the sequel.
This is Conquest of Planet of the Apes. This is where
Conquest basically.
Roddy McDowell's the son of Cornelius,
and he becomes Caesar.
And he hides the fact that he's intelligent.
And Ricardo Montalban takes him to the city because he has to go there on business, and it's a futuristic police state, kind of like, you know, and there was a virus that had killed all the animals' pets, like cats and dogs, and so humans now have apes as pets, and they've also traded them to be like slaves, kind of like a plantation, you know, and you know.
I haven't seen this one for ages.
Yeah, it's a very good film actually, and the uncut version I said is even better. I like the way that. This is like a transition where you see the apes start to rebel and build a resistance against the humans. And there's some very tense moments, and it's very well directed by J. Lee Thompson. I mean, it is very tense. Some of the scenes in there are just really creepy, like when the scenes where they're trying to barricade themselves away from the apes, and the apes are just going ape shit, no pun intended.
Well, I didn't mind Conquest.
Conquest is one of the best entries in the series, actually, I think.
What about,
what did you guys think of Conquest?
I liked it. When you said that, but you're talking about another film, I felt this one felt rushed. I felt that you started to see them just, you know, let's just get this out there because it's another Planet of the Apes film. I think it could have been a better film than what they wound up putting out there.
Yeah, but just wait for the next one.
However, Roddy McDowell is very good at it.
He carries the film.
He really does carry the film, and it's an interesting sort of subversion of the character he was playing in the previous Planet of the Apes, where he truly is front and center the hero.
Well, he is the son of...
And he's a proactive hero.
The son of his father, so he's basically playing the son of the character.
He's almost like a Malcolm X type character.
He very much is, and it's a very interesting thing, and there are sympathetic humans in the movie, just like, you know, Ricardo Montalban isn't the only one. For some reason, I don't find the movie particularly memorable. For some, you know, it's like I saw it recently.
Because I'm having trouble
really surprised.
Myself.
I'm surprised you guys don't remember the violence in that.
It's been like 10 years.
It's just for some reason, when you go from like a presentation of the future in Planet of the Apes, part of what the advantage that film had, that it took place so far in the future, you could probably get away with anything. The whole desert, you know, planet, everyone's, you know, just dressed down to, you know, just, you know, their skivvies, whatever. Whereas in a film like this, it was supposed to be in the near future, and it has that dated 70s concept of what the near future would look like, kind of thing.
Yeah,
and it really,
like
in the Century City set, it's like, it really shows that that's the only set they use, and they're constantly reusing the same shots to try to make it look different.
The same office building.
After a while, that started to like take me out of the film.
It's a $1.5 million movie. I thought they did. I mean, it got very good production value out of it, I thought. See, let me tell you something too.
We're talking too much about Conquest.
Before we go, though, the original ending, like I said, there's a very infamous speech that Cornelius gives, and it's very bleak, like, we are going to dominate human and whatever, and it was redubbed to the version you guys saw where we can show humans compassion and get along together. The other one is much more bleak. It's on Blu-ray, and it was on the Fox Movie Channel. I highly recommend you seek it out. Now, let's go to the next one. Battle for the Planet of the Apes, which was the last entry in the series, and it was suffers from a very low budget. J. Lee Thompson came back, and the story was written by Paul Dean, who wrote the previous 3 entries. But there wasn't enough time. He had problems with the script, so they went to Joyce and William Corrington, who wrote the Omega Man script. And this one, unfortunately, is a very low-budget affair, and it suffers very much from pre-release cutting. The version that was released to theaters is like 10 minutes shorter, and the uncut version did finally get released on DVD, which actually makes a lot more sense. There's a lot of plot holes and gaps.
There is a lot of plot holes, and this feels just sloppy and rushed.
It's also a really boring movie.
Yeah, it is terribly boring.
It's the only one that I wasn't. All the other ones before was watchable. I could sit from beginning to end with no problem, even if I had issues with some things that were going on. This one, I just kept walking away from the TV.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I kept walking away from the TV.
Ape never killed ape.
Yeah,
and
that's
Claude
right.
Akins is also in it, who's very good, actually. Is all of them.
And John Huston's monologue.
John Huston is the lawgiver.
Who was supposed to be Edward G. Robinson until he died.
Yeah, but it's, the law. I don't know if that's true, but anyway, John Huston is terrific.
Now, I said the last one isn't particularly memorable to me. This one, I can't remember shit.
Well, I can remember that it just was very crude. Everything was crude, almost Road Warrior-esque without...
And the human characters, none of the actors playing the roles are particularly charismatic.
I do think Austin Stoker is very good. But
I can't remember any of the humans from this film at all.
Austin Stoker was the black actor.
In fact, for the longest time, I would confuse episodes from the TV series.
It does look like one of the
TV films. Being a part of this film and vice versa.
It feels like the TV show because the masks are a little cheaper, and unfortunately they didn't have much money, but I thought for the budget they had, they did an okay job. And the uncut version, I am going to be honest with you, I didn't like it until I saw the uncut version. Until I saw the uncut version, I thought it was much better, and it is fleshed out, makes a lot more sense.
What uncut version don't you like?
No, because there's stuff
every single uncut movie you've seen, you've enjoyed much more than the original.
Well, we got to wrap this up in a sec, but before we do,
Tim Burtons, Batman.
No,
Tim Burtons,
we'll do a little rejoinder.
We'll do a little mini review later for that. But no, this one is an interesting one. The uncut is just because it fleshes out stuff. It really makes more sense.
For instance, we're going to do a mini review on Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes.
Why
would we do that?
Why not?
I can add it for the web.
Does anybody really want to hear it?
Yes. Well, anyway, but no, the humans are about, because they go in the underground city.
All the Marky Wahlberg fans.
Hey, I'm telling you, they go to the underground city and they have the bomb there and they're about to detonate it and they're going to destroy all the apes and they decide not to because of.
But really, does that make the film better?
It does, because it gives more motivation, fleshes out quite a bit. I think it's a lot better. Anyway.
Yeah, but that does still make it a good film.
It's not.
It may make
great,
it better,
good. It's a lot better.
It's
still a weak film, but it's better than Escape from Planet of the Apes, which is my least favorite of the series.
Well, I probably won't be checking that one out.
So, but anyway, stay tuned.
Stay tuned for our mini review.
We'll do a mini review of
Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes. Because we ran out.
Because we ran out of topics to talk about later on.
Because not only are we horrible at interpersonal communication, thus no Jeff, we're horrible at timekeeping.
Until next week or next show, mini review, I'm Edwin Samuelson. Hi, I'm Edwin Samuelson, and welcome to the CineFiles, a show that allows you to eavesdrop on the conversations of fellow film fanatics. Today, one of our esteemed co-hosts could not be here, Mr. Jeff Galashaw, because he's working hard for the man every night and day, to quote Creedence Clearwater Revival. Were
you going to call him a colleague or a comrade?
A comrade in arms.
Duh.
That's about the mustache, man. All right, well, who is here today? Mr. Eric Cohen to my left, and to his left, Michael Folk, and I hope you'll check that out. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, please leave a comment and rate the show and subscribe if you haven't. Just point and click if you are watching this on Facebook. You heard me, fellow fans. You agree with me on that, don't you? They can take the time to rate the damn show. Give us a 5.
You mean YouTube or Facebook?
On YouTube.
Right. I agree.
And subscribe, damn it. We want some subscribers, and we want some comments, and we want some video responses. And we want to thank our friends for the people who have responded. Those have been some great responses.
I want to say a big thank you to all our fans who actively post on both Facebook and especially on YouTube for their comments.
What does having a mustache have to do with?
I don't know.
I think Ed wants us to refer to him as young Stalin tonight.
Yes, I want you to do as I tell you. Okay. But anyway, before I begin, let's Let me just say this. We, as many of you know, we've started a blog, which is on cinefilestv.blogspot.com. We've had this for about a month now, and we've gotten some really good responses. Eric has written a couple of reviews. Jeff has, and Mike has also written some of his sarcastic, witty reviews. And I have also done a video entry for the Death Wish series, and I plan on doing some more video entries.
Even the jackasses that leave their miserable, thoughtless, negative comments that we will never ever listen to and we would probably think nothing of, we appreciate those too.
Hey, I appreciate it because you know what? That means they watched the episode and that they had enough anger or feeling to respond.
Yeah, I mean,
that provoked the response.
Especially on the John Hughes show, like half those comments, I think most of those people have shit for brains, but you know, I'm glad they posted.
So am I. Hey, and John Hughes, rest in peace, pal. All right, well, let's get into this first topic of today, which is we're going to be talking about a classic. We got some requests for this, and I think it's a very good topic. It's Planet of the Apes. We're going to talk about the entire Planet